to day 2 of the MIP Digital Fronts. Yes! You've made it to Wednesday. Congratulations. I am Amber J. Lawson. I'm the CEO of Comedy Gives Back. We partner with comedic talent across platforms on live stream comedy events that raise money for charity. And I am lucky enough to be your host today. And we are kicking off day 2 of the MIP Digital Fronts. Yesterday, we saw presentations from Maker and Machinima and had discussions with Vox Media as well as BuzzFeed. And today, we'll just continue the magic. The next one you may not have heard of. It's this little site that some people are using to launch huge careers. It is the second largest search engine on the planet next to Google, and a platform that has launched huge careers, media companies, and spun off so many pieces, and now is launching into television and movies across platforms. So I am thrilled to bring the democratization of content from our next presenter, who is YouTube, one of the most engaged platforms, and our host for this segment. Before I get there, just to remind you, we have a 1 o'clock lunch mixer out in the foyer, so plan your day around that. And our presentations will go on all day. So put your hands together for Michael Stevens, better known as Vsauce.
Hey. Thank you so much. All right. Hello, everybody. Good morning. My name is Michael Stevens. This is my 3rd year in a row here. I'm losing my voice, but I'm going to do this. They said, just go home, just rest. You don't want to die. And I said, oh, it's worth it. Because I noticed that there's kind of this Digital Fronts MIP TV effect. Every group of creators we bring here every year winds up the next year just killing it. Rhett and Link, Jack and Finn, those guys got so big, like, I can't even talk to them anymore. So this is like my last chance to see these people before they just blow up and go to the moon. But if you don't know who I am, that's what I look like when I'm like about to kiss you. I don't know why that's the picture we have, but my name is Michael Stevens, and I'm the creator and host of a science channel on YouTube called Vsauce that's been around for 5 years and has become a network of now 4 channels with more than 10 million subscribers across all the channels, and last year we celebrated 1 billion views. What I do is ask really ridiculous questions, but take them seriously and accidentally teach a lot of fun things. I've asked questions like, is cereal actually just a type of soup? Or maybe a bowl of cereal is a salad and milk is dressing? What if the moon was a disco ball? Would nighttime be a lot more awesome? Turns out, no, it wouldn't. But let's take a look at a clip of some of the other questions I've asked and what Vsauce looks and feels like. Vsauce likes to take a question and then really peel back layer after layer to find some fundamental truth, or just more and more layers. Since this video began, more than 1 million of your cells have died. What came first? Orange the fruit or orange the color? Why do humans play games? You are what you eat, but you are also a thing that you eat. Thanks for watching. Yeah. Nice job, me. I didn't even make that sizzle reel. But today we're talking about YouTube. YouTube is the most popular online video community, and it is a place where every single month, 1 billion people discover and watch and share online video. Every single minute, 300 hours of video are added to YouTube. Every single minute, there are 10 more days to watch. You couldn't watch all of it in a lifetime, which makes me very sad. But it also is a challenge, right? How do you get discovered within that giant mess of recorded image? Well, the people we're bringing on today are some of the top creators across Europe, and they come from different genres: beauty, vlogging, cooking, and they also have very different backgrounds. Some are one-man shows, some work for companies, some just had a trusted mentor that helped them. Some have been on for many, many years, longer than me. Some are completely new, and some work for local audiences, and some work for audiences that are abroad, and they export that content. So what I want to do first is bring out a guy named LUZU. Before he comes out, though, we'll have a clip. And what you want to be thinking about as I go through and talk to all of these creators is community. Community is how all of these creators kind of, in a way, have built audiences and been discovered amongst the crowd of content. I'm going to move over to the couch. What community to me means is that you're not just getting people to watch what you make kind of passively, you're actually inviting them in. You're actually saying, hey, you guys, you're going to become fans because I will give you a role. I will make you a part of my show. But that can mean many different things. Okay, so as I bring out LUZU, let's take a look at what he's up to.
Hola, soy LUZU, este es mi canal y la verdad es que me gusta bastante hacer el gilipollas. Antes veía la televisión y ahora no.
Hey, hey.
Bueno, pues ya estamos en el Minecon.
¡Espérate! ¡No!
Yo gano, la Anita la tiene que hacer. Que va a ser salir vestidos de Batman a la calle y jugar con la pelotita de fútbol un rato. Me voy a hacer un selfie.
Vamos allá. Esto va a pasar.
¡Vamos allá!
All right. So, LUZU, love the name, by the way. Thanks for coming. You have 3 channels, and you do more than 30 million views a month, all in Spanish, right?
Yeah. Good morning, by the way.
Good morning. 30 million views a month, but only about 46 million people live in Spain.
Yeah.
So what's going on?
So, one of the interesting things of YouTube is that it's global, right? Like, if you speak English, if you speak Spanish, other languages, you don't need to be in a certain place. You can reach audiences globally. And for me, I started with my audience in Spain, or aiming an audience in Spain, and then it spread because it's
To where?
To Latin America, Argentina, Mexico, Colombia, Chile, everywhere. In the US, even like Spanish-speaking people in the US.
And where do you live now?
I live in Los Angeles, in
Well,
California.
so you live in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
What would you say are your top 3 countries?
Spain, Mexico, and Argentina.
Okay. So how does that inform the content that you make, knowing that it's going to be watched in different countries?
I think that I've always, when I do content, I don't think of a certain country. Like, I do it thinking that different people from different countries and cultures need to be represented, or feel represented by what I do. So I try to do things thinking globally already. I think that everyone should, because we do content globally, and English speakers too.
Yeah, I actually learned that the hard way by being an American who moved to London and realized that America wasn't the whole world. Did you know that? That's how we're raised. And I was like, whoa, not everyone talks about pounds. Actually, pounds are money in this country. And all of a sudden, I started using metric equivalents, stuff like that, and the audience grew. I mean, more than half of my audience is in America. Tell me this, you speak English.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans for an English language channel?
I've thought about it, but the truth is that right now, and I think that every YouTube content creator will tell you this, I work like 14 hours a day on my content, and it would be really hard for me to concentrate in more channels, right? Because right now I have these 3.
So 3's like the maximum.
Well, I think you can go for more, but I am creatively, I am fulfilled, let's say, and I'm happy, and I can connect to this audience
Right.
really easily because, you know, like I think I'm funnier in Spanish than in English. Don't tell anyone, but so it's easier for me. I could eventually do it, but I'm happy right now, and there's still more market to cover in the Spanish-speaking world.
I think that's important too. Feeling fulfilled, that comes through in the content that you make. The audience can tell that it's authentically who you are and what you love doing, and it's kind of contagious, right? So run me through what these 3 channels are to kind of give me context on what you're up to.
So I have, first of all, I opened a channel, LuzuVlogs, which is a vlogging channel. I started doing humor. It's a little bit of like an adapting stand-up comedy to the YouTube world. And I slowly started doing other things, like I opened a gaming channel, which is for another audience. And I opened another channel, which with my girlfriend, we answer to teenager questions and stuff like that. And the truth is that everyone asks me, like, why do you do different content, right? How do you manage to talk to different targets in the same, in the same way? Right. But the truth is that you don't have to see it in that way. Everything is entertainment, and there are different vehicles to get to different people.
So it makes sense to you to have them as completely separate channels, and why is that?
Because imagine that what I do is like in Central Station, let's say, like that's my headquarters. And then I want to get to these islands where in one I might find like 15-year-olds that have, they like certain things. And in another one I have 20-year-olds. And in another one I have older people. And I just use different, as I said, different vehicles. Kids, for example, like video games, and I use video games as a way to connect with them and entertain them. And then 20-year-olds, for example, they are a little bit more mature, and I talk to them through other stuff like traveling or things that have a little bit more meat, and I can go into more. So it's just the same. It's just, as I said, it's just a different package to get to them.
Would you say that the order you created these channels in is like an order you would recommend? Because it sounds like you started with vlogging, which is a tried and true method on YouTube. And then you said, all right, now I'm going to do gaming. You build up an audience, and now you and your girlfriend can answer questions that teenagers have and talk about life and even make some really beautiful film. Did it help you get an audience for that by starting with the stuff that you knew was going to work?
Yeah, I mean, definitely having an audience in my vlogging channel helped me with the one we have together, for example, because that way, like that one, we opened it thinking just, okay, we don't care about views or anything, we're just going to open this to help people, to use the reach that we have with the views to help people that might need, don't know who to ask or where to get answers from. And definitely it helped, like a lot of people came to that. The gaming channel, I opened it because eventually I quit my job and I had time, and so I turned also my hobby, which was video games. I was like, okay, I'm going to do something with this, and I studied how I could reach that audience and how I can use my time.
So what does your team look like? Is it just you and your wife or girlfriend?
Yeah.
Wife, girlfriend.
Girlfriend.
Girlfriend, sorry. Is it just you two, or do you work with other people? What's a typical day for you?
Typical day is half of my house is a production company.
Right.
But it's my house and it's me. And another great thing about YouTube is that we get to wear all these hats that in a production company, different people in the team will wear, Like I'm the producer, I'm the director, I write, I host, I do all these things. I'm also the marketing department, I am, accounting, everything. And it's great because I feel like I'm responsible for everything, and I feel like I own everything, but at the same time, it's a lot of work. But yeah, we don't need any help for now. We can manage to do everything. Lana has her channels too, apart from the one that we did together. But it's just, a lot of computers at home, a lot of lights. It's a set. I have equipment like in a production company I would have before, and it's just a lot of fun. Like I don't have time to get bored.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So last night I got back to my hotel and I had hundreds of Twitter mentions because you had mentioned me in a tweet.
Yeah.
You've got like more than 1 million Twitter followers. And that gets to this community aspect that is really important today. What's the difference between just getting attention on YouTube and building a community who, when you mention people, freaks out that you even mentioned them?
I think that, it's something that comes with YouTube too. Like people feel extremely connected with content creators. Creators are connected to people that watch their videos, like, and it's a big thing because you want them to feel like that. I think that it's very intimate compared maybe to conventional media, where you keep a constant conversation, and especially if you have a global audience, like my audience, one part of the world is going to sleep, the other one's waking up, so
Right.
it makes me have to be connected all the time, and they like it, and it's a great way, like social media, for example, it's a great way to engage with the audience whenever you're not uploading videos, to make them still feel part of what you're doing and follow what you're doing, the ideas that you're having, places that you're visiting, like MIP TV, for example, and they want to know constantly what you're doing, what you're up for, what you're interested in.
Yeah, so we're going to bring someone out next to kind of talk about how do you engage with an audience and have this almost personal relationship with them, but then also start working with other platforms, books, and how do you start working with brands but still keep your authenticity up? Sounds pretty cool, right? Well, let's thank LUZU for coming out.
Thank you.
And they're, yeah, whew. And coming up next, we've got FLEUR de Force. Let's take a look at a clip as they exchange positions on the couch and see what FLEUR is up to.
This video is going to be a little bit of a different one. It's going to be a mixed bag, a bit of everything. So excited about this. Let's do it! Today I'm going to be talking you through a week in my outfits. We're engaged! We're very excited about it. He did propose on the beach and it was very romantic. I'm going to be showing you how to do this big side plait or braid. Americans call it braid, English people call it plait. It's time for another monthly favourites video. This is like the biggest hat I've ever seen. Looking at the print of these makes me happy. Very, very sexy nightwear. Today is moving day. Packing is not fun. Hello, hi babies. I'm going to be talking about my top 10 skincare items: blushes, concealers, foundations, mascaras. Oh my god, it's actually real. It's so pretty. It's so amazing. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I will see you again very soon.
All right. FLEUR, thanks for being here today with us. Congrats on the book, by the way.
Thank you.
Really quickly tell us about what it is that FLEUR de Force is.
Okay, so I actually have two channels. My first one, which I started with, is FLEUR de Force. I make beauty, fashion, lifestyle content, girly stuff. And then I have a daily vlogging channel as well that I do. It's kind of like a lower production quality, just my day-to-day life.
But is that where things happen, like announcing that you're engaged and,
Yeah.
and what it's like to move? Yeah.
Yeah, so most of the videos that you see that are like a little bit more polished and of me sitting like with a backdrop, that's my main channel. Anything that I'm kind of moving around is my second channel.
Okay, here's a question. I always called it a braid. You call it a plait?
A plait.
A plait.
Yeah.
I thought it was pronounced plate until I just saw that clip.
Plate.
Is it P-L-A-I-T?
No, yeah. You must have had some confusing conversations in your
I'm
time
not the smartest guy in
living
the world.
England for 3 years.
I make science episodes, not hair episodes. Look, you started on YouTube in 2009.
Yeah.
What's that journey been like?
Very interesting. I feel like I started because I was bored. I was at university at LSE, and it was quite serious, and I felt somewhat creatively stifled, and I discovered this community online and wanted to become part of it. So I started making content, and then by the time I'd left university, it kind of turned into a job for me, and that was about 5 years ago. So yeah, it's been interesting to see everything develop, and I've kind of grown and kind of changed and adapted with my audience, but it's, you know, I'm like an old granny of YouTube. I feel like the old one.
Yeah, 2009 is like ancient days. So
there are definitely older people on YouTube, as in like they've been doing it since 2007 or whatever. But
they've been, yeah, they're legends. They're like
yeah,
the dinosaurs.
they are legendary.
I uploaded my first video in 2007. Okay,
Yeah.
but
So you're a YouTube legend.
This was before I even had my names on things, before Vsauce, before anything. Tell me more specifically about how you've evolved and how you've grown up with your audience.
It's just been very natural, really. As time's obviously gone on, I've grown up a little bit, and I talk about what I'm interested in and what my audience want to see and are interested in. So at the end of the day, it's just been a totally natural progression. And I've made more obvious steps, like moving into vlogging and showing a little bit more of my personal life. But it's been a very natural process for me. It hasn't been too thought out or strategic or anything.
Right. I mean, your audience is obviously experiencing time like you do. They're growing up as well. 6 years ago, were you talking about different things than you are now?
Slightly. I feel like the more personal element of it has changed more than the actual beauty and fashion content, because, you know, I'm still talking about makeup products. It's not going to change too much. But I think the way I talk about things has changed. My audience have grown up, so yeah.
Yeah. Now, you've worked with brands, and you have worked with, let's see, P&G, Sainsbury's, Coca-Cola.
Yep.
The Sainsbury's show is great, by the way.
Yeah,
Tell
I
us
do
about
like
that
that.
one. Tell us what it is, what the whole theme is.
That's great, and it's a totally different thing for me. It's a year-long collaboration with Sainsbury's, with my husband, and we cook a weekly recipe on their channel. So they knew we were interested in food and cooking, but obviously it's different to my content, so it's really fun.
Is it
really
on
fun.
the Sainsbury's
Yeah,
channel?
it's on the
or-
Sainsbury's channel.
Okay, and where do you cook? Is it in like a studio kitchen?
No,
or
in my
it's-
kitchen.
It's in
at
your
home.
kitchen?
Yeah, and we have all the input into, you know, recipes and what we're cooking, and it's just natural chat. Like, it's not scripted or anything. It's just, you know, us in our kitchen.
Right, and have you become a better cook?
Yes, a little bit.
A little
My
bit.
husband's become a lot better and
Oh, that's
really
good.
passionate about food. He's like loving it.
Now, how has working with brands enabled you to make more of the content that you want?
I think with brand work, it's a fine balance. I obviously talk about brands all the time in my videos, so it makes it very easy for me to decide who I want to work with and who I don't want to work with. But the best brand collaborations for me are where I get to create something outside of what I do normally, like the Sainsbury's channel, done some other collaborations where we've made content for the brand's channel, but in a totally awesome new way, and had, you know, amazing production quality and things like that. And it allows me to kind of take a step out of what I do. Because I've been doing it for a long time for YouTube, I feel like that, for me now, is like one of my favorite things to do, because it's different and it's fun, it's project-based, it's always changing.
So what is your team like? I know you do different stuff, but let's say like day to day, what do you have to get done? How many videos are you worried about, and who's helping you?
My team is pretty much me. I have management that help with the serious stuff, but in terms of production, video, you know, from start to finish, concept, everything, all of the technical, boring stuff, I still do.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I put up 2 videos a week on my beauty and fashion channel, and then I vlog daily every other month on my other channel, which is kind of, it seems to confuse people sometimes, not the audience, because they know the routine, but
Yeah.
people are like, every day, every other month? Because I feel like you get like a mini-series, do you know what I mean? And then I
Yeah.
have a break and don't die, because I like actually have a day off.
How long have you been doing the vlogs?
I feel like this is my 3rd year, but I had a break in between, like mid last year. I stopped doing the same format, and then I've come back to it. I was kind of testing the water of doing like weekly vlogs and things like that. But
Is it like exercising, where you just get better and better at it? You get better at talking to an audience that's not there, and but building a community?
you definitely get better at it, you know, at the beginning. I feel like now I just have my thing down that I do in front of camera.
Right.
But yeah, at the beginning I was totally awkward, and yeah, I didn't really know how to speak to people, and it, you know, the camera was a camera. I was like, oh, but now I just see it as, you just have to pretend there's nothing there, and you're talking to everybody.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, my advice is always to people, just make some stuff.
Yeah.
Just always be posting, ABP, because even if it's terrible, which it will be, you'll learn a lesson, and the more things you make, the more lessons you learn.
Yeah.
I've never vlogged, but if I did, I would be terrible in the beginning, and people would say, get over yourself. But eventually, I would realize how to be more natural at it, and I probably would be a much better, user of YouTube.
Yeah, I think that's just one side of it as well, because when I started, I didn't know how to edit. I didn't know how to use proper cameras. So I had to teach myself whilst I was doing it. And that's the best way to learn, because, if people notice something bad as well, it's the great thing about YouTube. They'll be like, hey, try this camera, or hey,
Exactly.
film it like this.
Yeah, and you have the power to change it yourself because you are learning how to do all of those things. You're not relying on other people. But what is a tip to leave us with for building an audience that really cares about you? Not just people who watch, but people who are a community, people who are fans.
I think the main thing is to care about them back more than anything else and get involved with them, and never kind of see yourself above or separated from them. Like, remain a fan yourself of YouTube and other people.
I like
and
that, yeah.
I think that's the best way for me to really kind of connect with my audience. And also make sure you are consistent and they know when to expect content. So they know when to come back.
Very smart. Well, thank you so much, Fleur.
Thanks for
this
having
is really
me.
Awesome. We're going to have a little clip play for our next guest, Cupcake Gemma. Thanks, Fleur. Yeah.
Chocolate tea cake high cut. Chocolate tea cake cupcake high. Chocolate tea cake. Chocolate tea cake high hat cupcakes. Got it. I have got the easiest, tastiest, moistest chocolate cupcake recipe you're ever going to find. Little vanilla cupcakes with a hidden surprise inside, and all that remains now is the big reveal. I'm going to show you how to make a rainbow swirl on your cake.
A rainbow swirl.
Yeah, how cool is it? It's like a rainbow cake.
To be honest, I was just showing off.
Lovely, classic Victoria sponge. Iron Outside, our brand new shop. And as you can see, it's really, really pretty. We do loads of stuff here at Crumbs and Doilies. Loads of amazing cakes go out of the kitchen. Delicious. Every night this week, I'm going to be showing you a spooky treat. I'm going to go grab myself a glass of milk and dunk my cookie in it, so I'll see you later.
Great. Delicious and cute and clever.
Thank you.
So, Gemma, you started a cupcake company called Crumbs and Doilies back in 2006. The videos that you make now came later.
Yeah.
Tell me how that happened.
Well, I'd had Crumbs and Doilies for, since 2006, as you say. Didn't really know anything about YouTube, to be honest. And about 2.5, 3 years ago, I met Jamie Oliver, who at that time was just launching FoodTube, which some of you may know. And they approached me to see if I wanted a channel. It was actually after I'd worked on a TV show with Jamie, just one episode.
Okay.
So that's kind of how they knew about my whole thing.
Right.
So yeah, and then I said yes, because I've kind of always wanted to do something a little bit like that, and the rest is histoire.
Okay, so what did you first think when they said, do you want to do a channel? Were you nervous, and what did they offer to kind of help?
Well, initially, because Jamie has his own production company, Fresh One Productions, and initially, because I had no experience of anything like production, they took control of everything in terms of the production. So they filmed, they edited, and they uploaded for me, and that was great for me because I was running a business, so I wasn't really down for kind of learning a whole new skill at the same time.
Right.
And over the last year and a half, it's kind of, we've switched to my business partner, Sam. He actually now films everything and edits, so we can turn out videos much, much quicker than Fresh One can, with much less money and much fewer people, and so it's much more convenient for us. And obviously, with running a business, I have my existing schedule, so it's quite difficult to kind of liaise with other people who have their schedules, and it was proving to be quite difficult. So now we can just kind of film when we want to film.
Right. So I should also point out, by the way, that Gemma, your channel in the FoodTube family is the largest and fastest growing.
Sure is.
And it looks like before this year is over, you'll have 500,000 subscribers.
I hope so. That'd be really nice.
Or more. I mean, you never know with this kind of stuff, but you're already, the last time we talked, you had just started, and then I was like, yeah, let's see where that, whoa. So congratulations.
Thank you.
But this is a really interesting story to me because it's not just someone who started all by yourself in your bedroom. You met up with Jamie Oliver and Fresh One.
Yeah.
and they kind of helped get you into the videoing aspect. So that got added to your business.
Yeah.
And now you've opened an actual brick and mortar store in London.
We have, yeah, in December, which certainly, you know, it was inevitable for our business because, you know, 9 years in the making, it's kind of about time we had a shop. But the impact that my channel has had on the custom has been incredible. And actually, I rather naively just didn't really think about it, which is a bit silly. But when we opened in December, obviously that was during holiday time, so a lot of people were coming to London from overseas. And I was seeing, you know, I'd say 50% at least of the customers coming in were Cupcake Gemma fans from all over the world.
Wow.
And, you know, day to day, I'd say it's still around 40% of the customers coming in are there to meet me. And I'm there almost every day because I'm a grafter.
Right. But your employees must think you're the most famous boss ever.
Well, they don't because they now know me and realize that I'm just a goofball. But it is kind of nuts when, you know, when you're trying to serve someone a cupcake or you're making a cappuccino and some girl's behind the counter kind of going, ooh, ooh. It's very new to me, and I wasn't expecting the volume, to be honest, of customers being Cupcake Gemma fans, and literally from all over the world. I mean, I think Malaysia is probably, it's not where I have most of my fans, but in terms of the fans that come to London to visit me, I'd say Malaysia is it's rocking.
You know, apropos of, well, I guess what you just said, I've noticed that too. Malaysia, Singapore, they're like the best fans.
They are.
Don't tell that to all the other countries. But they're not the largest group, but they are some of the most engaged.
They are. They love sweets too.
Yeah.
They love anything cute, and they love eating cake, which is great for me.
That's great. Now, I'm curious about any insights you have in the difference between what, say, a customer in the store buys and what someone wants to watch you make on Cupcake Gemma, the YouTube channel.
Well, we do get you know, fans coming into the shop looking for the thing that I just made last week.
Right.
And sometimes that is something feasibly sellable in a shop, and sometimes that's a minion cake, which is going to, you know, never going to work. It'll take too long. So it's fun actually playing around with that, and also we have some products in the shop that people, you know, will put a picture of it on Instagram, on the Crumbs and Doilies Instagram account, and you will get, you know, comment after comment saying, recipe please, and so we then kind of decide, well, do we want to give that recipe away, or, you know, do you want to keep it secret? So it's a bit of a balance, having a business and having all these, you know, quite demanding fans who just want to know everything, you know, because for me, obviously, I'm running a quite a successful cupcake company, and I don't want to give everything away.
Yeah.
But I do want to give something. You know?
Yeah. So it feels like a kind of a community here where, yes, you have the business, but you also are helping people be a part of it and learn some tips and tricks from the cupcake master.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, the fans that come in are, you know, clearly really excited about my channel, but actually, funnily enough, we don't get a lot of people come in saying they don't make anything, which is bizarre to me. But we do get a majority of the people actually making the things that I teach. You know.
Yeah, but that's also, I think, really interesting. I watch your videos, but I don't even really. I don't even like sweets. Like, I'd rather just have more steak. But, you know, I still love watching how they're made. There's almost something kind of therapeutic and cool.
Well, it's magic. And baking.
It's not magic, it's science.
Oh, don't start.
Final question, how has Fresh One helped? And, you know, could you have done this without them? Would you have done this without them?
Well, I think inevitably, like, my partner Sam and I were considering a while ago, like way before we got approached, maybe we should have a Crumbs and Doilies channel, because we do so much cool stuff in the kitchen, and it's kind of, and all the team are really fun, and, you know, I'm, you know, me. I'm me. But we just kind of never got around to it, and I guess we needed that push to, you know, someone with the smarts and the capability and the drive to kind of say, well, actually, I think you can do this. Technically, I would not have known where to start. Absolutely not. Luckily, my partner, he's really into cameras, filming, and he's got the editing thing down, and so I just leave all that to him.
Right.
But Fresh One have really helped technically and guided me. They've really mentored me, actually. And also, you know, it's a great alliance because obviously Jamie has such a massive following. He's got a huge fan base, not just in Britain, but worldwide. And so anytime he mentions my channel or my company even on either his personal feeds or Jamie's FoodTube feeds, I really see a spike in subscribers. And if I have a video appearing on FoodTube, for example, I get thousands of subscribers overnight.
Yeah,
so
and
it's a great help.
He and the whole FoodTube team are so smart about building community.
Yeah.
I did a couple of videos with them, and they respond to every comment.
Yeah, they really do.
And it's annoying because my phone keeps going off, and I'm like, guys, just chill. But people love it because it's FoodTube talking to them.
Yeah.
So it's worked out really well.
Sure has.
Thanks for coming, Gemma.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure always. Yes.
Thank you.
Let's play a clip now to introduce the next guest, Joe HARLAND from BBC Radio 1. Thank you. Yeah.
We're recording now. What is the opposite of your greatest fear?
Puking rainbows.
Favorite animal? Penguin.
Impression of that animal, mating.
Marilyn Manson is here. He's got some sausages, and I've got a giant turkey.
Right in the face.
Never done a face mask before. Apply liberally to the face.
This is not going to end well.
It's time to plank all over me.
Who's the most famous person's phone number?
Chris Akabusi! What scares you?
Clowns!
You've shuffled quite far forward there, Lucy.
Oh, there we go. Someone's found their groove. Oh, hello.
This is the most exciting thing I've ever done.
You wake up, you don't shower, you don't change your pants, and you put catnip on.
Cool.
Nice doing this with you.
Did you have fun with that, Jack?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. He's only human.
All right. So Joe, thanks for being here. Your title is Head of Visualization.
For a radio station.
For a radio
Which
station.
is an inherently ludicrous and daft job title.
Yeah.
I'm very aware of that. But we found at Radio 1 that young audiences, when YouTube first started, Radio 1 started trying to have some viral hits, making those classic first mistakes of, we've had a funny idea, we can do something here, we'll make a video and everybody will talk about it, and nobody did. So what we had to do was look at what the audience were doing. What were the audience doing? Which bits of our content were they most talking about? Which ones were they responding to? And then say, right, well, if that's really what they want, then that's the stuff that we should be doing. It's not rocket science to say that. And as a result, we assembled a small team, and that's what we do, and those are the results.
So what's an example of something that you saw the audience loving and then said, okay, we'll give them more of that?
Well, actually, the first ever piece of radio that went, quote, viral was in 2001 when a band called Elbow, who are a big British band, covered Independent Women by Beyonce, and a man called Joel made a funny little video on his own website of cats dancing to it. Classic cats, of course it was cats.
Of course, yeah, brilliant.
And that was the first example of something which went, well, clearly there is this big artist does a cover version, this is clearly the thing that the audience most want. What we saw where we struggled most was you'd have the big sort of breakfast show that would have an idea of, well, we'll go out and we'll do our presenter will learn to do something. It'll be funny, they'll ride a BMX bike. And that stuff just, it isn't super shareable in the way that we wanted it to be, which has then led us to a radio principle of all of our content has to fit a model of listen, watch, share. The artists that you see, Taylor Swift, Miley Cyrus, those people, they come in because we're a radio station. That's the listen. You want to get something that's valuable out of them that needs to be watched, because very few people will share an audio clip. They're going to share a video.
Right.
Hence, listen, watch, share.
What about animated GIFs? Do you guys play around with making those? Because those don't even have audio.
No, we've toyed with them, but the huge opportunities that there are with so many different visual styles, we've got to be quick, we've got to make the most of the opportunity that we've got, and that's why we've got studios which have cameras in that you go, that was funny, clip it, turn it around and get it out. So we've not particularly played in that area.
Right. So you told me yesterday that you're building fans now of Radio 1 that don't even own radios.
We have DJs that don't even own radios.
Wow.
Which is extraordinary, but to be expected. If you are finding 20 to 25-year-olds, they are unlikely to have bought a radio because they'll have come through owning apps and so on. And also, if you're making good videos, there's no harm in making good content. The people that you can go into a classroom and say, who here likes Radio 1? They go, and the hands will go up. You go, right, who here listens to Radio 1? And not many hands go up because people consider themselves a fan of the station, a fan of the content, wherever they're getting those programs from. And just the idea of saying to somebody, did you like that video? Oh yes, I loved that video. Buy a radio. What? What, if I get a radio, do I get videos like that? No. The man that was in that video, right, and he's on air all the time? No, once a day. It's too much of a leap.
Yeah, this is a funny coincidence. On Monday, I actually was on a show on Radio 1 called Internet Takeover, which I think is just brilliant. Tell us about what that is.
Again, looking at what the audience were doing, we had a tiny little bit of our radio where two guys came on called Dan and Phil. And we didn't really know who Dan and Phil were, but they popped up on one of our radio stations. And we saw this huge web response. So we thought, well, clearly we've got to do something with these guys. So we started working with vloggers when they were less than 1 million subscribers, and then built a show with them that you would feel comfortable doing, that any of the guests on this stage today would feel comfortable doing, because it brings an audience to the radio station that we want, and it's something that you quite enjoy doing, and it's not us phoning you up and going, hey, we really like your act, can you do your total act for us?
Yeah. And it was not just do your act, it was like, we will give you the opportunity to do something you can't normally do, which is play songs that you like, because I don't have the license to play my favorite songs on my YouTube channel. And then I came along and played a few clips from videos, but I also got to promote Radio 1 and send my fans there, and the response was really good. The visual component was so important, though. I just wanted to point out that, like, on Twitter, what everyone was doing was screenshotting when I mentioned them on Twitter, answering their questions, because they had this great picture of me with their Twitter name below it in the studio. And you guys also created images with little quotes from what I had said during the show and tweeted them during the show to kind of like piggyback off of any, hey, if you think that was funny, share it right now.
But what you've got to do with any of this stuff is have intent. Make your content deliberately for the platform you want to have success on. You will struggle terribly to have success on YouTube if you say, well, we found this funny clip of this TV show that we made, so we'll just put it up there. Because it's part of something else that you didn't deliberately mean to be there. And that's one of the mistakes we used to make, is that you'd go, this kind of funny thing sort of happened in the studio, so even though it's not really deliberate, let's put it out there. And the audience aren't going to respond to that. They don't want to share around or watch an afterthought. They want to look at something that was deliberately made for them.
Do you ever think, when you're coming up with ideas, we can't do that because it won't work in video?
I expect all of my radio producers to be aware of what will and won't work in video. I expect them to be able to see whether an idea that they really believe in has not worked, and that I expect them to keep on trying until they have a great idea. So one of the shows, the guy that was being laid on by various celebrities, they've tried dozens of different treatments and ideas, and each of them's getting 10,000 views, and then one day Hugh Jackman was in, and the producer is obsessed with Les Miserables, so he thought, well, I'm going to rewrite the big song, Who Am I? I'm Jean Valjean from Les Miserables, but it's going to be about Wolverine. 3 million views in 24 hours later, he was able to say as a radio producer, I know what our thing that we regularly do is now. I've got my bit. And that is now something that they do every week. So I expect everybody to have that awareness.
Now, has it been easy to collaborate with talent that's already built up a following on YouTube? What's that experience been like?
It has been. What we've learned very quickly is that it's unreasonable to expect somebody such as yourself, if we come in as the BBC and go, we really like what you do, and that thing that you do that's really successful, can you just make us one of your videos and give it to us for free? That's just, that's not...
That happens all the time, by the way, seriously. So yeah, I mean, I think you guys figured it out by saying, look, we're gonna let you be who you are, but in a way that you can't be at the moment. And I ate it up.
Yeah, and it has to be a collaboration like that. Otherwise, you're not going to be interested. You're not going to enjoy the experience. We're going to feel slightly put out. And so, yeah, that's been one of the biggest learnings. But people see radio and the BBC still has a gravitas and a global presence.
That's right, yeah.
That is still valued. You know, when one of your family says, "What did you do today?" You go, "I made a radio show for the BBC." Oh, that sounds like a proper job.
Yeah, right. Whereas if I tell my mom that I spent all day making a video about what human meat would taste like, she's less proud of that. So any other kind of final tips that you want to share with us today?
The opportunities for YouTube helping business and helping programming is enormous. Radio 1, if we have an Ed Sheeran video that gets 4 million views, we can find, just by click-throughs, we can get them to the full-length program, to a half-hour Ed Sheeran program on the BBC. You've got to fish where the fish are, and then drag them into your net. But you can't have success internationally if you're not fishing where the fish are.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. It was really cool talking to you. All right. Okay, so we're out of time. I've got 3 minutes left here to wrap everything up, and I kind of want to just leave you with this. Remember what you've learned from these creators and the different things that they've tried out, because YouTube is a social experience, and building communities and being unafraid of taking risks and experimenting and trying things out and seeing how people react, and then learning from that and changing midstream what you're doing is a common theme. So is being consistent and letting the audience know what to expect. I'll leave you with like my kind of top tip, and I want to put it into perspective first. Everyone who's been up here has an audience that is in the millions. Vsauce alone has 8.5 million subscribers. If you met 2 people a day, every day of your life, from when you came out of your mother until you were buried in the ground, 2 people a day, you would still only ever meet about 60,000 people. 60,000. It's not even close to 1/10 of a million. So communities now on YouTube, on a global platform, are mind-blowing, and they're global. You can reach people in Malaysia, even if you are on the other side of the world. You can reach different countries, and you can think about exporting that content. My tip was kind of something that's been brought up today, and it's about think of yourself as your audience. When you make something, don't think of it as, does this make me look good as the creator? Would my mom share this because she'll share anything that I make? Instead, ask yourself, would I share this on Facebook, or would I tweet this YouTube link, or would I comment on this if I wasn't involved in it at all? Would I want to be a part of it? Does it make me look cooler or smarter or better by being associated with it if I was just a complete stranger to begin with? That's when you know that you've made something that makes people want to join in and be a part of your community. So thank you very much, everybody. It's been fun, and I hope to see you next year. Bye-bye.